Hey guys, thanks very much for checking out this video. And I'm going to show you a little trick called keying a gate. And this is a trick you can do to beef up the sound of a bass drum. So specifically if you're doing like a rap or hip hop track or just something where you want to get an acoustic bass drum from a drum set to sound a little bit thicker or have a little bit more meat to it, you can apply this little trick. And I'm going to demonstrate this using Pro Tools, but you can do this in just about any recording program that's out there. So, Logic, Digital Performer, Cubase, you name it, whatever you're using. The techniques that you're going to have to use in order to do that might vary a little bit. And I'm sure there are resources online you can find for specific instructions on that. But this is Pro Tools, and I can show you here in Pro Tools what that looks like. And we'll get a chance to hear that in action. So this session that I have open here is one that I recorded some time ago. And the drum sounds are actually pretty good, but I'm just going to use this as an example of how you can use this technique of keying a gate. So just a quick overview of the process to do that. We're going to create a sound. We're going to create a tone using just a single oscillator, a tone generator. And then we're going to take that tone and actually put a gate or an expander gate right after that. And I'll talk about expanders and gates in just a moment. And then we're going to send a signal of the regular bass drum to that gate, telling it to open to allow that tone to go through in conjunction with the original bass drum track, so that we get this beefier sounding bass drum at the as our ultimate goal here. So okay, so let's check out our session here. I'm going to play you just a couple of seconds of this. And the drums actually don't sound too bad. So the drums don't sound bad at all. But let's take a quick listen to the drums by themselves. Okay, so the drums actually sound pretty good, but we're gonna use this bass drum track right here, and we're gonna beef that up a little bit. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and create a new mono auxiliary input track. It's gonna put that right next to my track in Pro Tools here, and I'm gonna go ahead and set up my tone generator, which I'm gonna get from the other menu right here in Pro Tools called Signal Generator. Now, as soon as we turn this on, we are going to, if I solo this, we get this lovely tone. Now, we don't want to listen to that tone, but we want to dial it into a good, nice, low frequency that we're going to use. So, sorry to annoy you for just a moment here. We're going to dial this down. We'll go down to about 40-something hertz here. Okay, 46 hertz, that sounds pretty good. So if I make that a little louder, okay. All right, so that's pretty good. I've got my master turned down here, so it's not overloading the video here. Okay, so now we have that going. I'm gonna unsolo that because you guys don't want to hear that tone while I'm talking here. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and add our expander gate. Now, basically, a standard gate is something that you would put on a signal that you want to control the background noise. Maybe you might want to add a gate to a vocal, so that way if the singer is rustling papers, or maybe they're coughing, or their cell phone vibrates or something, a gate would help to take that out of a track, so you don't have to manually go in there and physically edit all that stuff. It's just less work to do. An expander is basically a different variety of a gate. I'm not going to get into the differences between them right now, but what we're actually going to use is a combination expander gate that comes with Pro Tools here called the Dyne 3 expander gate. You can do this with different expanders and, different gates and such, pretty much the same, but I'm going to use this one because it comes with Pro Tools. So now we have our gate on there, and actually it's showing us that we have that signal coming through from our tone generator. It's right over here. But what we want to do is we're actually not going to be using the gate's sort of internal detection of what sound we're using. We're going to tell it what to listen to, which is a technique called sidechaining. So we're going to take our bass drum track and use it as what's called a sidechainer. We're going to key it. That term means the same thing. So I'm going to go up here to my sends and create a new send. We're going to use bus number 1 just because it's number 1 right here. And we're going to do a pre-fader send, which basically means the level of this fader here is not going to affect what goes to our gate or expander here. So I'm going to just turn this up right here, nice and high, and turn that off. So, okay. And now what we're going to do here is we're going to tell this to listen to bus number 1. And now this switch will activate that sidechain. Now you'll see what happened. This GR meter, this gain reduction meter, just went all the way down because now it knows to listen to that incoming feed from here to decide what to do. So now if I solo this, now that tone is really, really low. So now if I were to press play, now you see what's happening. As that bass drum hits, it's actually opening the gate and allowing that sound to come through and then closing the gate really quickly behind it to make sure that it is attenuated or it's turned down. Now we can also improve the performance here because we're still getting a little bit of that tone coming in. And if you listen real closely, you can probably hear it. It's pretty low, but our meter is telling us it's about negative 50 decibels of that tone. So we still don't want that in there. So I can turn my range down. And notice that went right away. So my range is down at minus 80. So that means we're turning this tone down by negative 80 decibels when it is not being, when the side chain is not telling it to come through, or when the kick is not telling it to come through. So now let's take a listen to that again. And I'm going to listen to just the bass drums now. Here's without it. So it seems to help pretty nicely, actually. It beefs it up. But let's actually see what these controls actually do, because you can actually get some really interesting things using these controls. So I'm going to play just our new channel now, just the beef channel, I guess we could say. And we'll turn this up a little too. Okay. That's pretty interesting. But now let's see what happens if I adjust my attack time. We're at 10 milliseconds right now. Let's say I put that real fast. So you hear all that kind of popping and crackling that's coming in. We don't want that, because that means that this expander is actually happening. It's opening so fast, it's producing those artifacts, so those little noises. So we don't want that. So around 1 to 2 milliseconds is usually fast enough. Sometimes you can go a little slower if you want to. But again, we're talking in single milliseconds. It's very, very, very quick. The hold is going to be how long it waits before it actually closes down. So if I turn this up, you see we have a problem. Some of these notes are actually getting blended together. Some of these bass drum hits are getting blended together. So we don't want that to be too high. The release is kind of where you can have some fun, because if you go a little bit higher, listen to what you get. It's really letting those bass drum hits kind of sustain a little bit, or they kind of hold out a little longer. So you can get kind of a vintage drum machine sound type thing with this if you want. So I'm going to back that down a little bit. So something like this is pretty good. Now if we listen to the regular bass drum with it. Okay, I'll start the track over here. Let's hear the whole thing in context now. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit. I'll mute it. So you can see it kind of adds a little bit of something else to the bass drum, and it's a nice way to just beef beefing things up, or to make things more beefy. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm definitely going to make more. So if you want to see anything specific on one of these videos, please feel free to head over to jbrecording.com, hit the contact button, and shoot me an email right from that page. You can also subscribe to my email list. Also subscribe to me here on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/jbrecording. Thanks again for checking this out, and we will see you soon for the next one.